interrupt this program to bring you a special report.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Chuck Ritchie. I am here with Tim Nielson, T. Kurtz, and Debbie Hughbanks. They are all members of, say what it is again? The
Pastel Visions.
Pastel Visions. That's right. I knew it. I just wanted you to say it.
Of course.
So this is an art talk we do the first Wednesday of every month. This is right before you guys go and do your art talk over at the brewery. That's at 6:30 p.m. The day before the art walk. And you guys are this month's featured artists at the Trails End Art Gallery this month. So why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself. Let's go ahead and start with you, Debbie, and a little bit about why you're here and what your part is in Pastel Visions.
Okay, my name is Debbie Hughbanks, and I'm here because I'm pretty passionate about painting, and I love working with pastels. I've been working with them for about 25 years, and I was really pleased to be invited to be part of this show.
Very cool. We're very happy to have you here.
Thank you.
Is this your first time on the show with us?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if you'd been here with Scott before.
No.
So, and go ahead.
I'm T. Kurtz. I'm a pastel artist as well. I've only been doing it for 12 years, however.
Only 12 years.
Only 12 years, yes. I'm a newbie at this. So Debbie and Tim approached me, and we put the show together. And we're pretty excited about it. There's 4 pastel artists, although only 2 of us are here to talk to you today.
Oh, nice. I wouldn't consider myself a newbie at 12 years of anything. I've lived here for 8 years. That's the longest I've ever done anything.
Wow.
And welcome, Tim. So tell us about this month's art walk.
Well, this month we've got, I'll kind of go over the locations first. We've got Chris Lewalder at the Yale Press. We have Judy Fairley, T. Kurtz, Debbie Hughbanks, Julia Komsky are the Pastel Visions artists at Trails End Gallery. And we've got Henry Von Ressler, the artwork at Quartzite Brewing.
Very cool. Very cool. And
that's our lineup.
are you
And Mountain Market, they're in there doing their seasonal changeover, getting ready for holiday.
okay?
So
okay.
it just, I totally get it. They've got a lot of work to do.
So there's no artwork this month.
There's
over
no
at the
artwork.
Yukon Gallery.
Yeah, I imagine they'll be open, not first Thursday hours, but yeah.
Very cool. Are you ready for wintertime? Are you excited to be going into this?
I am.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
You got your stuff all up. I saw you in there working the other day, getting everything ready to hang and
Yeah, it's all hands on deck when there's a new show, and it was I have to say it took some thinking to hang this show to make it work, and you don't want to kind of for the show to get a rhythm, and in the end I liked the way it turned out, but I had stuff up and would come in and go, nope, this should have gone over here, and I go through a process, or my wife would say, you need to put that long one up top, and it's nice to get that input. It's a lot of work hanging a new show because the show you took down, you keep X amount of those pieces, so now they plug into the main part of the gallery, and then artists refresh what they've got, bring stuff in, take stuff out, and it's fun. It's kind of like touching a mobile is the metaphor I use.
yeah.
You can't just touch one part. The whole thing moves, and you have to move stuff around. It's funny, yeah, but I enjoy it.
Is it kind of bittersweet when you have to pull down the stuff from the previous show? Do you get attached to the paintings hanging, or you just look forward to getting new stuff?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's sometimes you go, wow, I just can't believe that didn't sell, or wow, that was a pretty good show. There were 18 pieces sold, or whatever, and. But I would say that after, toward the end of the second month, even I think even the local crowd has gotten so used to this rhythm of the gallery, they're kind of like, oh, yeah, we've seen that.
Yeah.
When's the next show? It's just kind of funny.
Right.
But-
Time for something new.
Yeah.
Of course,
Yeah.
it's probably also
Keeps
really,
it fresh.
it's probably really nice to have blank wall space when everything sells from the previous show.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the red dots that we like to see.
We
Oh,
love
yeah.
those.
Yeah, when
Yeah,
a piece
yeah.
sells, you put a red dot on it, and typically the piece isn't picked up till the show is over
Mm-hmm.
because you want people to still be able to see the breadth of the artist or artist's work, and it is nice. Sometimes one dot, it starts a little cascade of dots.
Starts the trend. Huh?
Yeah, it's funny. Oh, I wanted that one. Well.
I guess
You
I'll
know,
buy this one then. And maybe
well,
this one before someone else gets it. Yeah,
it
right?
happens,
All right. So you ladies here, tell us about Pastel Visions and how that came to be and what exactly is this?
Well, Debbie and Tim were talking about putting on a pastel show because Debbie and I are both, part of his cadre of artists. And then I brought in two more because I'd like to have a broad breadth of talent to showcase what pastel can do. It's an amazing medium and it's timeless. So having 4 pastel artists to show the different ways it can be used is fabulous.
Nice. So, but about the same with you? Is it?
Exactly.
yeah.
It's a great medium, and people will really be surprised and impressed at the versatility of this. And I think a lot of times people have a wrong, have a misconception of what a pastel piece or a pastel painting is. And, they might think light and airy and all this, but you can get very dramatic. You can do anything with it. And I like to be able to explore all those options in my work. And like T said, having 4 of us in there, you really can see
Yeah.
what can be
Outstanding. And I gotta say, I loved your art talk you did last time, or not the art talk, the Pechacucha.
Oh, thank you
Yeah.
very
Yeah,
much.
catch that Pechacucha. That was great.
Thank you.
So for the people that aren't listening, explain pastels. What is a pastel? Explain that to listeners.
Who you want to pick on?
Well, you spoke up first.
Pastels are using pigment and mixing it with a binder to create a dry stick. Depending on the additives that you use for binders, they can be very hard, which is generally what kids work with in school is a hard pastel, all the way to a very soft medium, where if you drop the pastel on the ground, it explodes and you're crying. I don't know how many pastels you've had hit the ground. But it's
like, oh no.
So it's basically like holding the colors of the earth in your hand and painting an image with it. And the vividness of the pigments that are created, and you layer. We call it painting because we are layering pigment over pigment over pigment.
Exactly.
But the subtleties and the strength of the image and the depths of colors. Tim's putting up a poster right here of a pastel palette, and each one of those little colors is an individual stick.
Yeah.
I work with about 15 different brands. Debbie and I were talking about how many different brands of pastels we work with, and I work with mainly soft pastels. Debbie, do you work with medium or hard or
Mostly
all?
soft. Mostly soft pastels. I have a couple of sets of the harder ones, but mostly soft.
And pastels come from all over the world. I've got pastels that have come from Croatia and Prussia, the UK, China, and even here in the United States, there's an amazing pastel brand called Blue Earth that comes from Blue Earth, Minnesota. Terry Ludwig are created in Littleton, Colorado, and they are shipped all over the world. So it's incredible to actually hold these colors in your hands. Your hands get really dirty, so I go through a lot of baby wipes to keep my hands clean.
Me too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's what I like about making a pastel piece is, you can really get personal with it.
Right.
And, It's just wonderful.
So is it a water-based then, pastels?
No,
No,
there's yeah, it's a dry medium, and because there is no liquid involved, it doesn't change colors. It doesn't yellow. It's
Right.
very permanent. So
What I meant by that, when you said you use a lot of wipes on
No,
your
that's
hands,
to
does
clean
does
up our
wash-
mess.
Does it wash right off, or is it like
It
an
can,
oil where it
yes.
gets okay.
Yeah. Although there have been times when things have gotten crushed into carpets, and you can just pretty much
yeah, that's
Oh, yeah.
give up.
that's toast.
Yeah.
That's why our kids' craft room is now wood flooring and no longer carpet. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
So when you talk about holding these, and I'm looking at the picture. Of course, I know what a pastel is, but again, for people not listening, the texture of it, is it more of like a chalk or waxy, or how would you describe
No,
the
It's
texture?
not chalk.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it does feel chalky.
Yeah.
Chalk actually is a mixture of the pigment and plaster of Paris and calcium carbonate, and there's not anywhere near the amount of pigment in it as a pastel.
Right.
Soft pastels are basically gum arabic and the pigment.
And the pure pigment, yeah.
And
Okay.
so there's a lot of people who love the look of pastels. They don't want to work with them though because they don't want their hands to get dirty because they don't like the feel of the pastels on their hands.
Yeah.
But that's the best part for me. I'm sure for you too, T, huh?
It is, yeah. The silkiness. There are pastels that I'll pick up and they feel like I'm touching butter to
Ooh.
the surface.
Exactly.
Nice.
And then, of course, then there's Diane Townsend's. She actually puts pumice into her pastels.
Okay.
And the pumice actually will abrade the surface so it will accept more pastel if you've already got a surface that's
Oh.
overly saturated. So there's an awful lot to this medium. It's really fascinating. I love it.
No, I regret missing chalk because it instantly made the hair on the back of my neck stand up, and I makes me think of all the times in school holding it, and I never could do that
Yeah,
on the
that's okay.
chalkboard. So.
Yeah.
All right, so do you want to go ahead and get right into some of the pieces that we're doing here? Do you have something else you want to talk about from your showing, or?
Well, I mean, we've all got at least 7 to 9 pieces
Yeah.
in the show. So there's 4 of us. It's really an incredible amount of pastel images.
Outstanding. Well, and to go back actually, so you guys are from here, right?
Yes.
No, were you guys always here? Or are you guys transplants or?
I don't know, Debbie, did you transplant?
I was born in Colorado and grew up in Missouri and have been in this area since the 60s. So I've been here quite a while in the Spokane area, but
Okay.
we have lived at Deer Lake since 1997. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah, so
Very cool.
I love it here.
Nice. And so you said you've been doing pastels for 12 years. You're a newbie. And how long were you saying you've done pastels?
Over 25.
Over 25. Did you guys start with a different medium, or have you guys always kind of done pastels?
I have worked in a lot of different mediums. In fact, I have several different mediums at the gallery, but pastels is one of my favorites. And when I first tried pastels, I just about gave up on them because of the surface I started out on. But once I discovered a surface with a lot of tooth was what I wanted to use, which is a sanded surface.
Yeah.
And then I just became passionate about them. So it is, I would say, most of my work now is pastels or acrylics
Okay.
and some scratchboard. So
Okay. And T, do you go by T? Is that
I
what-
do
okay.
go by T, yes.
Same question to you. Is it-
Well, I was born in Montana, grew up in the Pacific Northwest, Tacoma, and eventually moved to North Idaho. Lived there for about 30 years and finally moved to Spokane. So I haven't been here in the area that long, but I really love, I love the amount of sunlight that we get over here
Yeah.
versus North Idaho. But yeah, I actually started out with pencils, but I didn't work on becoming an artist until 2012. I spent most of my art career from 6 years old on working for my mother. So I know the business, but now she's retired and I work for myself.
Now, was your mother an artist then?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. She did pencil, pen and ink, acrylic, oil, and then finally bronze sculpture.
So I'm curious now. So working for her, do you mean like helping her with her artwork, or selling them, or cleaning
Well,
up after, or all the above?
I took her to the foundries. I took her to the art shows. I set up her displays. I sold her artwork. I did all of the schlepping. So, to be honest, yeah, I was a roadie for her for 30 years. Yeah.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
But I would imagine that time you learned a ton, obviously,
I
to get
learned
to where you are.
I learned a lot about the business, and I learned a lot about different mediums and about doing art, because every art show I went to, there'd be an artist who'd be bored. They would be painting, and it would be like a private lesson. You know, what artists can do with color is incredible. And having that one-on-one when you're just sitting there and the artist is bored, so they start talking to you, and it was free.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Outstanding. Well, you guys talk about how fun it is to use pastels, and I've watched quite a few artists painting, and I've seen some artists, and for me the pastels, they do it's a really sort of very literally hands-on experience, and I've seen you use your hands, you smudge, you do all kinds of stuff, and it seems like it's, like I said, it's a very interactive, sort of active form of painting.
It is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as opposed, as opposed to like a brush, which is very precise strokes, and I know everything is precise, everything is intentional.
Well, it depends on the style of the artist. Some artists
Right.
are very conscientious about where they put their colors, but they go for the bolder, broader strokes. The biggest concern with pastels is you're working with those pigments, and a lot of times they can be toxic. So that's why Debbie and I go through an awful lot of baby wipes.
Oh yeah.
By cleaning off our hands, we don't ingest the pigments.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense.
It's very important to pay attention to that.
And I'm assuming no gloves, because that probably removes you a little
I
bit
don't
from
wear
the
any
work, yeah.
gloves, but
I know artists that do wear gloves.
Yeah.
I don't either, because I use baby wipes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I teach classes, and I tell my students, halfway through the class, get up, go wash your hands, walk around,
yeah.
But ultimately, wash your hands. I want all of my students to remember to wash before they do anything else, to be conscientious of that feeling, so that they don't run the risk of ingesting any of it.
Right. Now, where do you teach?
Spokane Art School, and also at the Joyce Dillon School in Sandpoint.
Okay, great. So now we'll get to the artwork. Do you guys have anything you want us to know beforehand, or just go through the paintings?
Go through the paintings.
Okay.
Sure.
And Tim, I've got your other microphone up in case you need it. Oh my gosh, look at that little guy.
Debbie is
Yeah.
amazing for catching emotion with her work.
Thank you. That's very kind of you.
Let me see on camera here for those of you watching online. Oops, I'm on the wrong. There we go. Let me see if we can zoom in a little bit. Got a little bit of a glare on there. Tim, can you is there room on there to scooch that back a little bit, or? There we go. Perfect. All right, so tell us about this piece.
This is called Roxy's Sunny Day. That little pup is Roxy, and she was enjoying a day on a shag carpet with all that sun coming in, and just had to paint her. I love painting critters. I'm pretty passionate about critters, and pastels just lend themselves very nicely to that piece and what I wanted to capture there with the expression and the fur and all the textures and the carpeting and everything.
Yeah, I love that. Instantly you get the feel of the shag carpet. That's fantastic. And that
Thank you.
is this your dog?
No,
Okay.
she was our grandson's dog.
You can see that look, and boy or girl? The dog.
The dog, girl.
Girl. Okay.
Yeah.
You can see that look in her eye of she's in a mood, and there is something she is about to get. That is a mischievous eye. I know
Yeah.
that eye well. I have no doubt.
Well, I'm glad I captured that
You captured it
successfully.
very well. That dog is about to get into something cute.
Thank you.
All right. What do we have next here, Tim?
This is a piece by Julia Komsky.
Okay.
Julia is a Russian-born artist, actually, and she has had some classical training with some artists, but she's just wonderful with her impressionistic technique as far as getting the different textures that you find in nature.
Mm-hmm.
So, very talented artist.
Very nice. And I forgot to mention when we first started the show. I mean, you two are the ones that are here, but there are also two other artists in the show.
Yes, there is.
Do you want to tell us who they are? You mentioned her.
Yes, Julia Komsky, and then my mentor, Judy Fairley.
Okay.
Judy has known me since I was a little girl, and she's a good friend of my mother's. Judy, Debbie, and I have all been members of Women Artists of the West, which
Right.
is a national organization. And at one point, Debbie, weren't you the president of Women Artists of the West?
No, I wasn't the president, but I served a lot of in a lot of different capacities in the organization. I was vice president, show chair for a couple of national shows for them,
Oh, nice.
and currently I'm a master signature member
Okay.
of the organization.
And that's when you were here before with the women.
No, Women Artists of the West is different than Women Artists of Washington.
Oh.
Or Women
okay,
Painters of
okay.
Washington.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's okay.
no. Women Painters of Washington further the women artists in the state and their careers.
Okay.
Women Artists of the West, they actually, they're actually international
International,
now at
yeah.
this point.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So
Very cool.
they've pulled membership from all over the world, but yeah. So anyway,
And
but
you know what's funny? I mentioned that because you were here before. I didn't recognize you when you first walked in, but the second you sat down and I look across you from the computer, bam! I'm like, okay, yeah, there's that smile. Okay. All right. What do we have next here? That's gorgeous.
yes,
And that one really does look like oil. It doesn't.
yeah.
From
Well,
what-
that's that painterly look that you can get because you're layering pigments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is called Arid Distance, and that's one of my pieces. I love the way light affects things, and so you'll find an awful lot of light contrast in my paintings. That's what I'm drawn to. And I showed this to a friend of mine, and she says, "I want to walk there." This started out as a demonstration piece in one of my classes, and after the class was over, because I'll start something and it'll basically have the first 4 or 5 colors, and then I'll be around talking to my students and it won't get any further. Sometimes when I do this, I look at it afterwards and I'm like, oh, never mind, and I'll throw it away. But this one really caught my attention, and I really wanted to explore it. It's very loose. I'm going for a very impressionistic style. And this is done differently. This is not on a sanded surface. This is on suede matte board. So it's a very fuzzy surface. And it actually lends itself to make the painting look softer.
Okay. It certainly does make it look softer, and you can tell. I mean, yeah, I see something off the view there that's casting a shadow. And I love the way the mountains in the background or the hill there is sort of darkened. You can tell that's very good.
Thank you.
I do love your use of light in there. It's very
Thank you very
profound.
much.
Yeah, I love
It's
that.
for sale.
Yeah, outstanding.
Look really
So
good
is
in
mine.
here.
All right, I'll trade you a broken down Durango for it.
No, thank you. I had one of those in the front yard for a while. No, thanks. It wasn't even mine. It was the neighbor's. This one is Judy Fairley, and she's actually recognized internationally as a wildlife artist.
Wow.
She does scratchboard as well as pastels, and you can really see her technique. Again, this is on the sanded surface like what Debbie works on, and Julia. And she uses not only pastels, but pastel pencils to really get the hair detail.
Yeah. Yeah. Look at that eye.
Yeah. She's also
That's
a Nancy
gorgeous.
McLaughlin winner, which is an award I'd like to chase after. But Debbie, have you won the Nancy McLaughlin yet?
No, I haven't.
You should have by now. Oh my God.
So what is the Nancy McLaughlin Award?
Nancy McLaughlin Award is a recognition of a female artist who has grown and produced a good, amazing body of work on a steady basis. One that doesn't backslide, just keeps pushing the envelope. So there's one that's offered at the Spokane Valley. They just had their
they
their
just did it
auction.
a few weeks ago, yeah.
But the only other organization that I have heard of that offers that was the Oldfield Productions. And I don't know if they still do that.
And what was that again? The
Oldfield Productions.
Oldfield. Okay.
Yeah, they're over in Puyallup.
Okay.
So I just had a piece over there and got first place with it. I was really shocked and honored. But
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's outstanding. All right, what do we have? What do we have next here, Tim?
That's it.
Oh, that's it. Okay, outstanding. So so you guys are going to be at the Art Talk tonight at 6:30 at the brewery.
Yes, we are.
Do you have anything special you want to talk, or do you want to keep it a surprise for the people that are going to be there?
No.
It'll be a
Julia will be
surprise.
there too.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
that is a good
Judy,
surprise.
Judy couldn't make it until tomorrow, so at least it'll be 3 of them talking about their work, and it'll be just kind of an expansion of what's going on here.
Very nice.
This is kind of nice because it's kind of a warm up
Yeah.
for the artist to come in here and then give a longer talk or a different talk, really, you know. add
Well,
some stuff.
we're going to be presenting more images too
Yeah,
at the Art
yeah.
Talk tonight. So Tim asked for 20 images. I think he was being a little overexcited about it, but what the heck? I'll show.
20 images, 20 seconds each.
You know, it's not like Pechacucha, but I mean, I figured, you know, I've had artists that had 60 images,
Mm-hmm.
but, you know, some they'll just go, okay, next. Some they linger over. You know, you usually get a talk in somewhere around the 35 to 45 minute
Yeah.
range. And so we've got more artists talking, so they'll be a little bit shorter each.
Yep.
So it'll be a nice primer for the show. Primer.
Nice.
Potato.
No, you are a Pechacucha alumni.
Yes.
I found the hardest thing about that, it wasn't so much the 20 slides and 20 seconds, it was cutting it down. Of course, I talk a lot, but cutting it down to that 20 seconds for me was
Yeah.
really hard. What was did you have any challenges putting
Oh,
your
we had a
presentation
lot of
together?
challenges because we actually put the audio with the visual
Yeah.
on that. My husband helped me so much, but we worked on it for hours to get it to fit in.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Oh, that's right,
'Cause-
because you pre-recorded your audio.
right?
Yeah.
And
that's
I
right.
think that was that I was the first one that did that. Apparently,
Yeah.
from what I was told, I felt more comfortable trying to do it that way, but it was definitely a learning situation. And like you said, getting the slides in there, that wasn't difficult, but
Mm-hmm.
timing the narrative part to fit the slides was definitely challenging.
And there's always so much you want to say, and doing it live. You know, I had my script and everything ready, and it was so dark in there, I just threw it away. I
Uh-oh.
just got up and hit it. But I did love your presentation.
Oh,
and,
thank you
and
very
your artwork
much.
is
I
gorgeous.
appreciate. Thank you.
Yeah,
I appreciate that.
yeah, no problem. So is there So Tim, tell us a little bit about some of the other artists that are going to be there tonight. Or you guys, is there anything we should know about them or their artwork? We talked a little bit about some of the artwork that was here.
Oh,
Um,
at the other locations. You're talking about, or are you
Oh
talking
no, I was
about the
talking about the other
artists?
two artists that aren't in the studio with us. The other,
I think he's
Well,
talking
we
about
already
Judy.
already
The other
did.
part of
Yeah.
Pastel
But
Vision.
Julia will be there. Julia
Okay.
Komsky will be there tonight, and Judy Fairley will be at the Open tomorrow.
Okay.
So-
Well, and that is a good lead-in. So there will be another artist at the Kurtz Brewery tomorrow.
No, not at Quartzite tomorrow.
Oh,
There
I thought
is-
was.
Okay, there is Quartzite gets an artist too if they can.
Okay,
You know,
okay.
they put art up on their walls, so they have their own art on the walls, but it's not usually tied to an art talk.
Oh
at
no,
all.
I was sorry. I was shifting onto the art walk tomorrow.
Yeah, well, Quartzite has Henry von Ressler.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for.
Yale Press has Chris Lewalder,
Mhm.
and that's it.
Very cool. So I know who Chris Lewalder is. I know him. He's actually been on the show before. Tell us, do you know anything about the artist that's going to be at the brewery tomorrow night?
I know it's local chiropractor Peter Ressler. It's his grandfather's work.
Oh,
And it's really interesting work. I think he was an illustrator as well as a painter. And so it has kind of an illustrative quality
Mhm.
to it, but it's really fun. He had a strong use of color, kind of exaggerated proportions and perspectives, and I enjoy the work. So it'll be on the wall
Very nice.
at the brewery.
Well-
I'm assuming it'll be up there for at least a month. So
Pardon me. My kid's calling me. I usually try to turn that off. No, that's actually really neat. So he's doing sort of a retrospective of his grandfather's work.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I really love that. So I want to take a minute really quick, too, to talk about the Spotlight Gallery. We spoke last night about it. We're getting those out, the call for artists out soon to start setting those up for next year, and that is a supplement or a stop on the art walk that's going to
yeah, so hopefully you'll come in on April. You'll participate in the first Thursday.
Exactly. April through November. I think we're adding a month on next year. Maybe even transitioning to, if we can, swing it, do it year round. That would be nice. Depends on the what the committee says.
It's a lot of work. I mean,
It is.
I think that location has unique challenges in that it's really kind of a one-night show.
It is.
And so it's a lot of work to throw that together. So
Right.
I think you're doing right to really be organized that far ahead. I mean, you know, for me, I'm working on the final show for 2026.
Mm-hmm.
I'm basically booked for 2 years.
That's
But
incredible.
I
hope
find
we get to
that,
that point someday.
you know, and next, gosh, I think it's May, June, is the Women Painters of Washington again. It's hard. It's amazing that it's been 2 years.
Has it been 2 years?
It'll be 2 years in May, June.
Yes.
So, and that's,
Wow.
we don't really want to have someone 2 years. I've talked to a lot of, different gallery owners and whatnot, and that's kind of about the timeline for when they would have an artist back.
Right.
Enough other shows and things going on to create some space and freshness and everything else. But I was excited actually to invite the Women Painters of Washington back.
Wow, I would imagine they're fantastic.
Because it was a good group. It's nice to get a big out of town organization like that coming into Chihuahua, and it really helps burnish the town's cultural identity. I think,
It does.
as an art, as a growing art center.
Mm-hmm.
And Women Painters of Washington are very excited about it because the call for artists have already gone out. Actually, it just went out a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're very excited about putting something together for Tim again. He was such an amazing host for our organization.
He is a good host.
Yeah.
So I want to thank you guys so much for coming.
Thank you.
Is there anything else that you guys want to talk about or mention before we get on out
No,
here?
but
Come to
thank
the
you.
brewery.
Yeah, come to the
Come to
brewery.
the brewery. Yeah.
Yeah.
But thank you for making this such an easy and enjoyable thing
Yeah.
to do today.
Yes.
Very
You
comfortable.
guys
Thank
make it
you.
easy. You guys are great. So yeah, the art talk tonight at 6:30. Tomorrow night, tell us about the times for the art walk and where we're going to be again.
5 to 8 p.m. Trails Inn Gallery on Main Street. The Quartzite Brewing on West Main Street, and the Yale Press on, I guess they would be like on the corner of 4th and Main East. So we're all an easy walk.
Yeah.
We're really all just 2 to 3 blocks from each other. It's an easy gig in this town.
Right. And if you're going to park at the brewery, of course, you need to go around King Street and come through the long way.
Yeah, I guess
I'm guessing
the street's not open yet.
No, not
I know
quite
they're
yet.
striping it and all that stuff.
I've seen the stripes. I've heard the discussions. But no, they're getting really close to that, so that's exciting. That'll be good for the brewery and all those businesses over there too. It's
Yeah.
it's been a little rough over there. It's been closed down for a long time.
Yeah, but every time I look over at the brewery on a Thursday through,
It doesn't
Saturday
matter. They're
night.
always busy.
they've got a crowd. Can't argue with success.
All right. Well, thank you guys again so much. Go ahead and tell us your names one last time before we get out of here.
I'm T. Kurtz.
Debbie Hughbanks.
Debbie Hughbanks. So thank you guys so much for coming in. Once again, I appreciate it. And don't forget, you out there listening, you can stay tuned right here tonight from 6 to 9 p.m. on KCHW. We're going to have Dr. Jazz live in the studio. Then the Soul Show with Mike Canton is from 9 a.m. to midnight. Don't forget to tune in tomorrow morning for the morning show. It'll be myself and Scott Allen on the morning. So once again, thank you guys again so much for. I love these every month. I love it when you guys come in. It's always a ton of fun. It's always fun not only having you guys here, but working out the tech stuff beforehand. So
Thank you.
You
Thank
guys
you.
have a great one, and we'll let you guys get back to your the end of your workday. You guys get out of there and have a safe drive home.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
listening to KCHW. This has been About the Arts.
And now we return you to our regular scheduled program, In Progress.